Dear beloved Creator of all that is, we come to you in recognition of certain truths, and we, everyone, are but fractals of you, our divine Creator. We recognize that we are physical as well as metaphysical beings. We understand that our vehicle, our physical body, carries a soul and a spirit, the seen and the unseen. We are all part of that. Just as we see and we do not, there are those of us who think we see and do not. It is all of this, the mystery, that we ask you to reveal to us through expanded consciousness, through communion and communication, through humility and heartfulness. For all this, we express gratitude. We thank you for the grace of our moving together in greater consciousness and expansion of love in our energy body for ourselves, where the buck stops. Then we can expand our awareness and appreciation and love to infinity. And so it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure. Have a good interview.
All right. Hello. My name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'd like to talk about mindset. And anybody that wants to chime in, please do. But what we're dealing with right now is converting the mindset of people from acquiescing to what's going on because they're ditherers or whatever else they are that they can't jump up and take an action for themselves. They dither and they want to wait and they want somebody else to tell them what to do. And all of those things that preclude people from making the decision and deciding who you are. If this is not who you want to be, then you have to change who you are. And I'm talking right now about de facto and de jure. I'm talking about the difference between those people that think they're on the side of the Georgia Guidestones and those people that think they're against the Georgia Guidestones, just as an arbitrary line. It's make a decision and determine. And the rant is not going to be vicious or negative in any way. What I want to do is I want to provide enough information to people that might hear this to make the determination that they are a sovereign without subject or ruler. To make that decision, then after you've made that decision and you've determined that that's who you want to be with a lot of equals, but nobody superior and nobody inferior unless they choose to be. Willing to accept men and women, other people on the common law. I don't hurt you, you don't hurt me, you don't destroy my property, I don't destroy your property. Let's just be cool. We have a corporate governance operating out of Salem. I call it the Kate Brown oligarchy, that she's only the current manifestation of. This oligarchy has been going since before 1910, but in 1910 they got the paperwork done and flipped Oregon into a color of law incorporated state. Now, if you don't want to be in that form of government, you don't have to be. You can actually go read Article 1, Section 1 of the Oregon Constitution and decide all power is inherent in the people. Now, every other state and territory has a similar phrase in their constitution, every one of them. All power is inherent in the people. And if we decide that the current form of government is wrong, we change it. That's the deal. That's the deal that was made a long time ago in the minds of a very few percent of the total population that actually fought for the revolution. Very small percent. We have a small percent now. There is an enormous percent that are U.S. citizens because they've bought into the city of Portland is a subdivision of county of Multnomah, is a subdivision of state of Oregon, is a subdivision of the United States. They work for and draw a check from that group of employers. That's 30% of the adult population, so I'm told. I don't know. But 30% of the adult population are U.S. citizens by choice. They know what they're doing. They're aware of it. Their PERS pension is on the line. Their cophood pension is on the line. Their retirement from public office is on the line. They're committed to U.S. citizen. That's who they are. The bar attorneys and the cops, the judges and the politicians. Since 1910, that's the club they're in. Now you can go join that club if you want, and you can be party to the color of law that they are enforcing upon the other percent of Oregonians that don't work for that corporate entity and want to be free men and women, not 14th Amendment citizens. We want to be in the group with the unalienable rights. So, how do you make the decision to say the correct words to the fence sitters that won't take action, that already know more than they need to know? Many of them have been told by me and by people like me, and they know what's going on. They understand what the COVID is. They understand what the climate change is. They understand the IRS. They've gone through all those rabbit holes in the Sestacue Trust and Admiralty Law and administrative law form. And that whole group that believes he who can be deceived, let him. That's their law form, and I reject that. If you reject that, then you're closer to being what we are than to what they are. And you have to make the decision. It's your mindset. Nobody can make the mindset for you. And if enough people make the mindset, then that's what the mindset is. It's all on the bell curve. We're dealing with all of it on the bell curve. To remove Kate Brown Suzanne Bonamici, Jeff Merkley, and Ron Wyden from their office lawfully and with integrity. We must have an enormous number of people that far and outweigh the persons that are representing the Kate Brown oligarchy. That's when the tipping point comes. That's when it's like the French cops take off their badge and put down their hat and they step across the line and they become a Frenchman again. We're right at that position. And I'm at a loss to find the proper words. Charlie's the master of the words. She really is. And I miss Roger. I'm glad you're here, Ray. It's mindset. So, how do you get a proper mindset? Well, if you haven't been educated for 5 years in the Constitution and how it works, starting no later than the 8th grade on Oregon, you're not educated, you're ignorant. And the school system did it to you. I'm talking to a reporter for the Oregonian. Nice guy. Talking to another one from KSIA or JA, whatever. Another television station. And young men that were born and raised on Oregon, educated here, and he said to me, Ron, I don't know what you're talking about. I identified where he was from, and he said he maybe got something in his senior year about civics. Other than that, he graduated Oregon High School and knew nothing about the Constitution. And he's 24. Now, how in the hell can an ignorant person like that have a mindset? But they do. They make a decision on zero information. He doesn't know jack shit about the Constitution, but he's going to go along with the corporate entity where he works and their mindset. He doesn't comprehend right from wrong. One of them has even got a vaccination and he thinks he made a good decision. But then what do I know? I have 4 daughters and 2 of them took the vaccination. I have 7 grandchildren and 4 of them took the vaccination. I have no sway even over my family. I sometimes wonder how I ever got it into my head that I could do something like this. But I did, and it's mindset. I am not going to change. I am going to return Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government. If I was on another state, I would be doing it for that state. If I was on a territory such as Idaho, Washington, or Colorado, they're still territories. But if I was on one of those, I would be in an assembly looking to repair the color law damage done to me and everybody else on the land that I thought was a state but is still a territory, because law is law and color of law is something else, and fraud vitiates all contracts, period. The mindset is, can you recognize the contract? Do you even know, if you've never read any of it, where you fit within those founding documents? A lot of people have the mindset that the Supreme Court actually means something to them and to everyone on every state. The Supreme Court has sway over Washington, D.C. That's where they have sway. And over any lawfully owned ports, forts, military bases, and lawful United States or U.S. land. GSA. Most people have no idea what's going on, and they won't take a stand because they can't see it in their best interests. That's what I think. And I am looking to provide a best interest to those that listen and won't move. You need to find your Jural assembly. You need to find the grand jury pool that you are a member of, and you need to do what you need to return your state to a constitutional Republican form of government. Along the way, if you find out you're in Colorado or Idaho or Nevada and you're really not a state and never were, then you want to correct that. And in law, we can correct anything. It's just a violation of a contract. Everybody knows what it should be, and we need to do that. We need to lawfully return to a constitutional Republican form of government and get out of the corporation mindset of being a victim or a slave. You got to be a sovereign without any subjects and with no ruler. That is anarchy. When you look it up, that's how it is defined. No ruler. A lot of people can't handle that. I'm talking to a guy on a website, and he's a retired military guy, and he thinks he's God bless America, red, white, and blue all the way. And he's just a brainwashed former military person that actually thinks that the military is doing the right thing. How can they think that after Vietnam, Iraq, Iran, and all of the rest of the bullshit trips for profit that the military goes down? Well, mindset. I wish I knew how to impart to you the mindset of an American on the land of his state. Makes me an Oregonian with no subjects and no peers, and government is supposed to be for my benefit and my happiness, not to do all of the crazy bullshit that they're doing in places like Salem and Portland. It's mindset. You either are with us to stop that and you must take action, or you're not. And the ones that don't take action, then they acquiesce to evil and they are evil. And you don't have to take action with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. Find any group, Connecting Consciousness, for example, or any other group that will lead you to determining that the Salem oligarchy has to go, and we must return to a constitutional Republican form of government. And then after that happens, we have to get the other 32 states that became states prior to Oregon in 1859, because a quorum of those 33 states can reinstitute law in the United States of America and the several states. And I yield. Thank you a lot.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. Then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, "Just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me." And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, shot him 3 more times.